Hello friends and welcome back. Okay, so last time in the last video I honed out the cylinder here, and we also removed the valves and inspected them, and then I locked the valves, and that's done. So my good friend Nev from the Tinkering Taylor channel noticed this is the intake manifold. He saw a crack here. I have two more manifolds. This is the best one out of the two that I have. What I want to do today is I want to set the jug on the bottom end and bolt it up, and then adjust the valves, because this has these crazy cups. This is an older engine. Most of the engines have a valve cover on them. You take two screws out, pull the cover off, and then you adjust them there. And this one happens to have a lock nut and the bolt to adjust the valves. So I'm going to leave these off, and I'm going to pull the piston out and take the ring out. We have a shipment here, $110. Let's see what we got for $110 here. Just a divider. Okay, so we have our set of rings here. I ordered the standard rings. I'll leave a link to the Tinkering Taylor channel. I'll also leave a link to the last video that I made on this, and you can see the problem that I had trying to measure up the rings for it. I guess he's got some. I guess there's some instructions here. I guess. This is probably the bill that I probably won't be able to read. Yeah, it's the bill. Alright. Let's see how much the rings ended up costing. Yeah, they went up $10 from what he had listed on the. I think it was $46 for the rings. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. It doesn't matter. Everything was $110. Alright, so we took the rings out. I got bolts. I ordered the head bolts from him. So I got a package of head bolts. Probably paid way too much. Probably could have went to Tractor Supply and got them cheaper. Well, here's a couple of bolts here. These are probably the 2-inch bolts that take the spacers. Yeah, that's what they are. And these are 10-inch-and-a-quarter bolts here. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that today on this video. Alright, so we wrap the gaskets in here. We have the head gasket here. He wraps everything really good. You don't even have to give him part numbers. He just knows what to give you. This is the cylinder base gasket, which is very thin. I hate to have to bolt this thing down and then take it back off again, because I want to adjust the valves before we put the piston in, like I said before. Maybe if I just put a real light coat of oil on here, and then I'll mount it, and then when I pull the jug back off, it won't tear the gasket. These tear really easy. I guess the next thing we'll do is I'll go get set up outside. I'll uncover the tractor, and we'll get moving on it. Alright, so it's supposed to start raining this afternoon and rain for about 5 days straight. So I want to try to get as much as I can done today on it. Oh, and also, off camera, I just cleaned the head up real good. It came out nice. So that's ready. Okay, so the thinner part of the gasket here and on here go towards the sides to clear the valve assembly, the valve chain assembly, and the wider part, you know, is there and there to the front and the back. I don't know if I should put that film of oil on. I'm not really sure if I should do that or not. I really don't want to do that. Alright, so the engine's at top dead center now. I have a sock I'll put over the connecting rod, I think. I don't know, good idea or not. I'm starting to think not. I don't want the sock to get caught. I think it'll be alright. We'll try it. Yeah, the sock seems to be clear. I didn't put oil on the gasket, but I'm hoping it'll be alright. As I mentioned, I don't know if it was the last video or the video before that, these nuts to go on here to hold the jug down, they're a fine thread, and it also requires a lock washer, so I put them in a separate container. These I have plenty of containers here. Alright, so I'll come back to you as soon as we're about to adjust the valves. I believe the valve adjustment is 0.015. I usually make them 0.012. I make them, I don't know, I just like that better. To me, 15 might be too loose to me. So, because as the engine heats up, then of course the valve stem will be closer to the adjustment. But I think 12 is perfect. Because I don't like when they're too loose and then you can hear the valve train, you know, rattling. Okay, so the bigger engines that have the valve covers, it doesn't have a lock nut. In other words, you don't have to loosen a lock nut to turn the adjuster bolt either down or up. So these are a little bit of a pain because when you, I try not to loosen the nut too much and try to put some drag on that bolt, because if you loosen the nut too much, it just turns real easy, and when you go to tighten up the lock nut, you can't pull the feeler gauge in and out. So I got it to where I have some drag on it, but now when I go to tighten up the lock nut with the 9/16 here, it's probably going to be too tight, maybe. Yeah, and it is. So what I do is I just tighten it, and I just try to force this. See, I can slide it now pretty good. You can see what happens when I tighten up the lock nut all the way. Okay, I can still move the feeler gauge in and out. It is a little tight, but not too bad. That's pretty good right there. See if I can get it back in there again. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's just a hair too loose. So if I ended up being 13 or 14, that's fine. That's good enough. All right, so I'll go around to the other side, and I'll do the other side off camera, and then we'll see about this manifold here. I'll take it off if I can. And I don't know if it's the manifold itself or is it the jug. What I did was, inside the storage there, I stuck my flashlight, fit in there perfect. And I stuck my flashlight up in there, and I didn't see any light through where the crack is. But I'd rather take the manifold off and then investigate it real good. Well, I can see the crack all right. It was like where he said, over by the rear bolt here. It's cracked down here. So, okay, so I'm set up with the 7/16 on the 1/4 inch, and hopefully we can get the bolts out of there. Alright, that one's coming loose. It's very tight between the manifold and the socket. Yeah, this one's coming loose too. Sometimes they don't, but it's on the intake side, so normally it's not that much of a problem to loosen the bolts. I do have manifold gaskets if we need them. Oh my goodness. Wow, it cracked all the way through it. Check this out, my friends. Good eye, Nev. He's caught a couple of other things before for me to save me some heartache. So I suggest you go check out his channel, Nevs Taylor, and subscribe to him. He's about the best friend you could ever have on YouTube. Wow, that broke all the way through. Wow. Unbelievable. Can't thank you enough there, buddy. Yeah, that cracked all the way through. Good thing I save all extra parts. It's a good thing. Alright, let me get everything cleaned up here, and we'll install the new manifold. Wow. Okay, so I don't have the gasket for the manifold part that goes to the jug, so I'm just going to put RTV on it. But we won't be starting this up for, I don't know when it'll be done to start it up, so I'll just do that. I'm sure I probably have a lawnmower gasket. It might fit it where my lawnmower gaskets are, but they're all the way in the back of the storage, so I'm not going to worry about that. If the tractor was all together, this would have been no fun to put on, take off and put on, especially the bolts and stuff. Alright, so I'm going to have to put the piston rings in And there's a couple of different ways that we can install the piston. I haven't decided which way I'm going to do it. Because there's people here today, and I'm sure when I go to put the jug back on with the piston, nobody will be here. Don't worry. I hate to be like this, but that's how it goes, you know? Yep, that's why I never throw anything away. Never. Now I can't get the socket on here. Nah, I'll tighten it up with the wrench. I've seen some of these manifolds, people grind them down so you get the socket back on, but I'll just tighten it with a wrench. You don't have to go super crazy with it. Alright, so I'll get back to you as soon as we move on to the next step. Okay, so after you adjust the valves, I suggest that you rotate the engine a couple of times and then check the gap again, like I didn't do, but do it. You should do that, okay? And now, you know, I think I mentioned it in the last video, I just snapped the ring, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to slide it inside the piston here. You can feel the grit in there too. This works really well. And that's how I clean the grooves and the piston before I put the new rings on. And then after I do this, I'll take some brake clean and clean the piston off real good again. I already started on it, but I figured I'd show you. If you could even see me, I don't know. Yeah, so just keep doing that till it's nice and smooth. So you're gonna get some points here where there's grit in there, because you don't want the rings to be sticking in the grooves. That could cause you a big problem. In case you didn't see the other videos, this is the piston I'm using. It was out of another engine. The piston that was in this engine, I threw the engine together about 5 years ago real quick, and that piston was worn out pretty bad. But the bore in this jug that we're using the original jug, is in very good condition. So I'm hoping the standard rings will be alright for it. Alright, so you don't have to sit there and just watch this the whole time. I already did the second ring, where the second ring goes, second one down. I already did that already. And that's it. Okay, for the oil ring, just two real thin rings. Okay, so what I do is I put one ring in the second groove here, just to leave it on standby. And then you want to take the wiper, which is like the springy looking thing here. You put that in next. And then you could take the ring that's in the second groove and just pop it down into the first part of the groove here. And then what I do is I just take the second thin ring and just run it up the piston this way and stick it into the... Easier said than done. That's why I'm not recording it. It's taken a long time to do for me with my eyes and everything. And like I said, that second small ring, thin ring, I just run it up here and then clip it into here, and then you're done with that. And then, now I have to do I'll do the second ring next, and then I'll do the top ring. And so incidentally, the rings costed $46. Would you believe the head gasket? You guys have seen them before. $30 for the head gasket. That base gasket for the jug was $4. And the bolts that I could have bought at Tractor Supply for what? Let's say for argument's sake, $10. They were $21 for the bolts. We gotta find somewhere else to get parts. You know, I don't know if GT Gravely, I heard there was a fire there. I don't know if that, because their prices were pretty good too. I mean, I don't want to badmouth them, you know, Richard's lawn and garden equipment, because they're pretty good to me. But the prices of everything, I understand prices are high, but I don't know. It's a lot of money. We hardly got any parts at all, and it was $101 plus $9 for the tax and whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and I just read in my comments from the last video. Rusty Rooster said, you know, you have my email, send me the part number for the rings. But everything's pre-recorded here. You know what I mean? I mean, it's all said and done. I already bought the rings. And I paid $10 more than I told him. He couldn't believe $35. He couldn't believe. Well, no, you were wrong, Rusty. It's $46. But thanks anyway. I really appreciate your help. I'll comment you soon. Okay, so you just do what the directions say here. This is the second groove ring. The second, ring down from the top. It's been a long day here. And there's like a dot on the ring that I could barely see. But that dot that's on the ring faces up towards the top of the piston. And the same with the and then you pull your top ring out of the sleeve here and do the same thing. There's a dot on that. Make sure that's facing up towards the top of the piston. And okay, so that's going to do it for this video here. Next time I have to figure out how I want to install the jug back on. We'll discuss that in the next video. I usually just do it. I'll show you how I usually just do it. But I used to do it by myself too, with a pain. But thanks for watching. I'll see you all on the next one. And take care. And I'll leave everything I said in the description below. Tinkering Taylor and the last video we did on the engine. Take care.